Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi. Today, we're going to talk about reality reset. Can we really get a reset on our life? Well, my next guest is going to tell you all about how he created something that is really a game changer. So I'm going to welcome Jamal Mitchell. Hello, Jamal. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you
Thank
for
you for
having me.
coming. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for coming on. You know, what does this really mean? Reality reset. First of all, please tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into what is this game changer all about? Because I know we're all looking to change life for the better. So,
Absolutely. So I'm a speaker, coach, and Imagineer. I speak and I bless people, through my vision and experiences that I've had in life.
mhm.
Coach people. I'm a personal professional development coach. I'm graduated from, Broad Packer Sticking Into Results, the Errol Nightingale Lead the Field, Les Brown Power Voice, and the Napoleon Hill Master Coach. So I'm well versed in understanding the power that we have in ourselves and how we can tap into us and study people that have been successful and employ those same principles so that we get the same realities that we desire. And I'm the CEO of Focused Imaginations.
I love
Focused
that.
Imaginations. Thank you. I appreciate that. So
Well,
at Focused Imaginations, we empower urban youth to transform we have them transform, complex, dreams into concrete plans and realities. And essentially, at the core basis of it, we help them turn their passion into profit. We help them identify with their reason for being so they can live a life full of fulfillment, love, joy, and be prosperous, knowing that what they do, they can be paid for, they love it, it makes them happy, and it's something that the world needs.
oh my
So
God,
that's what I
love it. Love
do.
it. I'm so excited to find out, the work that you do because I mean that's definitely a life-changing event, right? Helping people to tap into their passion and purpose and really live the life that that they want. So tell me more.
So essentially, what I found is that I study. I'm a voracious reader. I love reading and learning. I'm committed to constantly learning and growing. And so on that journey of self-discovery and understanding that I wanted to be, one of the most valued resources in holistic personal and professional development,
Okay.
I started studying various cultures where people live to be beyond 100 years. They call them centaurians and they call them blue zones. One of
Okay.
which I found was in Japan. And in this particular area, the word retire does not exist in their culture. They have more centaurians almost anywhere than on the planet. And it's because the people have a reason for being. They find something that's in alignment with their passion and their purpose, and they do it for the rest of their lives. Because if you find something that you would love to do,
Why would you
right, there
want to
would be no
retire?
exactly. So I help people find and identify that thing that enables them to go to work and never look at the clock.
I love that. I love that. That is where true joy comes in. I remember coming across a statement, love what you do and people will love what you do and people will love what you do. Is that the way it goes? Like there's a statement that says, "Oh, you'll never work a day in your life when you love what you do," basically.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. I've heard it said like this: you have your job and you have your work. And your job you can be fired from, but your work you can never be fired from because your work is in alignment with your purpose. It's inside of you. God gave it to you, so nobody can take it away from you, not even yourself. You know what I
Amen
mean?
to
And when
that.
and so when you find something that's in alignment with the reason for your being here, you can show up, and just by the mere fact of you showing up there, you will probably outperform 80% of the people there without any experience or any training necessary because it's the way that you are programmed and wired from birth. So who doesn't want that?
And it's amazing that we don't know that information, right? We don't know it because, well, tell us why we don't know it, Jamal, because I'm sure you've done your homework and your research before you really tapped into this.
Well, I think everybody is different in
Hmm.
reference to why they're not sure what their purpose is. But I really believe it's all based off of some things that come from the good book. And the first principle is ask and it's given. The second is seek and you shall find. And the third is knock and it shall be
Knocking.
opened unto you. So if you don't ask God or the God in you, you don't sit still with yourself and ask the God in you why you are here and what you were created for, then you may never find that answer. You may do what you think is the answer, but if you don't listen to that still voice within, you won't ever know. And then once you hear that answer, if you don't go seek the truth through your actions to see if it's true for you and have the faith that it is, then you'll never be able to open that door when you hear the knock because you won't be able to hear it. And that's why I truly believe that God gave us one mouth to ask so that it would be given, two eyes so that we can seek and you will find, and then the ears so that we can hear when that knock comes so that we can open the door. So I believe that that's one of the reasons. And I can share my personal story. I was working with a particular counselor who's also a spiritual counselor for cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm an
Okay.
avid believer in therapists, counseling, psychiatrists if you need that as well,
Yes.
because they help you identify things about yourself that you may not necessarily be
Right.
aware of so that you can have a plan, you can have organized planning to take you much further. And working with this particular individual and my mentor is what I call him, he asked me a question that I've never been asked before. He asked me, he said, Jamal, who are you? I was like, I'm Jamal Mitchell. What do you mean? Who am I? And
Yeah.
he's like, no, who are you? I said, I'm the same person who keep paying you every single month of these sessions. That's who I am. And he's like, no, that's your name, but who are you? And I'm like, I'm a marketing and advertising consultant. At the particular time, that's what I was doing for a few years. And he was like, that's not who you are. That's your profession.
Profession. Hmm.
And it was literally the first time in my life that I was speechless.
Yeah.
I was a loss for words. I had no clue. I had never been asked that question before. And
So you're
so,
not your name and
no,
you're not your profession.
no. Now, your name, what you're named after, can be powerful and be purposeful within the name.
Hmm.
But even with that, that's not who you truly are at your core root of being. Well, actually, I should not say that. Some people are what their name is at their core root of being. Um, and some people are not. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, who you are is not defined by you. It's defined not the name of who you are. It's defined by the God in you. And so it took me. He gave me that assignment,
Hmm.
and it took me over a month to come up with the answer to the question. And this was kind of wild to me because I was going to see him literally once a week for an hour to an hour and a half every Wednesday. If I remember correctly, if I'm not saying it correctly, then please forgive me. Nobody else knows anyway. So
It's
and
okay.
so I took the assignment, and I mean I looked everywhere. I said I looked everywhere. I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find the answer. And literally the day about like after a month of searching, I went in and literally right before I opened the door to his office, it came to me. And it was like something literally tapped me on my shoulder, like, hey, psst, you're God's favorite channel for his children. And then I sat down with him and he was like, so, did you find out who you are? I said, yes, I did. And he said, well, who are you? I said, I'm God's favorite channel for his children. And he said, what does that mean? And I said, well, I've been blessed with a particular set of gifts and attributes that I haven't been using. I have a gift of being able to articulate complex principles in a simplified way so that a great mass of people can understand it. And there's some places I've been going. There were friends that I have been choosing, substances that I've been abusing that were no longer a good fit for me. You see, the difference between me and I think a lot of other people is I'm willing to keep it real. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sugarcoat who it was that I was versus who it is that I am now. You know what I mean? And I think when you're transparent with people and you let them know, like, hey, no, there were friends that I was choosing, substances I was abusing, places I was going that were no longer a good fit for me. And I realized that I had to let them go because if I didn't let them go, they would take me out of the game that we call life. And so that's
So
what
good.
spearheaded this journey for me. And there was another question that he asked me before that assignment. Not even it was a question. So he gave me an assignment. He handed me a dictionary. And he said, I want you to find this word. And the word is wonder. O-N-E-R, wonder. It's a remarkable person or thing. And he said, I want you to find that in the dictionary. I looked through the pages. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Nope, it's not in there, right? So I'm like, yo, it's not in here. And he's like, well, throw it away. I'm like, why would I throw away a whole dictionary? He was like, throw it away. And he's got this commanding, very baritone, very white voice. And he's also a pastor as well. So, you know, he don't sound like he was playing. It was like hearing the voice of God, you know?
Yeah.
So I threw it away. He gave me another dictionary and said, find the word. And he said to throw it away because he said that dictionary is useless if that word's not in there. And so I found the word and it says Warner, O-N-E-R. He said, what does it read? I said, it's a remarkable person or thing. He said, that's what you are, Jamal. You are a remarkable person or thing.
Repeat that one more time, nice and loud and clear.
You are a remarkable person or thing. You are the only person on the planet with the future that's bottled inside of you. So that means you're important. That means you're valuable. And it means that you're needed. So that's something you have to speak it. You have to believe it. You have to receive it and you have to repeat it. And that's something I repeat over and over again. And so just wanted to touch on that before we, dive deep into the rest of it. Because that's where this came from. Thank you.
So you recognize that, you embraced that, and you went forward with that, right? You made it yours. You began to believe that at your core being, that you're here to serve a purpose and that you matter. And that
we all are.
Right? And you're going to make a difference in this world. You embrace that information, and now you're on this path. Tell us the path.
The path that I am on is the path of authentically expressing myself as me and being the lighthouse that I am. And I am the game genie. A game genie is a cheat code. If anybody played video games back in the day, you remember. I would play the video games till the cartridge run hot. And then you would have to put the cartridge in the freezer for like 15 to 20 minutes to let it cool off. And you might find yourself playing the same game, doing the same thing over and over again, getting whooped by the boss every single time. And then you get so frustrated and you end up throwing the controller. Yeah, I'll admit it. I'm real. I threw controllers. If you're a kid and you have kids, I'm sure you've purchased new controllers and your kids probably told you, I don't know what happened, Mom, it broke. Nah, he probably threw it or she threw it against the wall, to the couch.
That. Wasted my money.
Yeah, another silly. Might get, I know I've thrown controllers at, let me not go there. But I'm just saying, like, when you are passionate about what it is that you're doing and you're competitive, you can get to that point. And for me, it was so interesting. I can remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog in my basement. At my childhood home, 523 Aladar Drive, the red brick house with the maroon shutters, the perfectly angled grass, with shrubs that looked like they were manicured by Edward Scissorhands himself. And I could see myself in that basement playroom. And it's got the 91, 92, 92, 93, 94, 95, Chicago Bulls back-to-back-to-back championships, posters. So a lot of kids may not be, I don't know if that's how kids have nowadays. We had posters growing up. And then they had the Dream Team, one of the greatest, basketball teams ever assembled. And then I see myself, playing my favorite video game, Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'm flying through all of the levels. I'm whooping all the opponents. I'm collecting all the coins. Dr. Robotics, I was giving that business. But for some reason, when I get to that final Sky Zone level, Dr. Robotnik's would beat the brakes off of me. I'm talking about, and where I came from, I'm talking about ooh wee and Humpty Dumpty knots. I'm talking about playing the game until the cartridge runs hot, so hot that I would get frustrated. And then one day I found myself throwing the controller, and then bam, those brown cabinet doors flung open. And there it was. It had been sitting in there all along. I'd forgotten that my mom purchased it for me. It was the Game Genie, the cheat code, unlimited access to unused assets and functions. I'm talking about invulnerability, unlimited ammo, and level skipping, a better way to play. And
Wow.
that's why I realized the parallel for me, because I believed that life is a video game. And I realized that in my own video game and the video games of a lot of others, I'm the Game Genie. Because I help people gain access to the unused assets and functions. I help people to discover the reason for their being and see the greatness that lies within inside of them so they can tap into that unused potential and turn it into something that will bring them profit, happiness, health, wealth, success, and money. The
It's
life squared.
you're on a mission. You're on a mission that is, you know, I mean, this is my mission as well, right? In a different way, but we're on a mission to really help people see their true gifts that they bring to this world and tap into what really, you know, makes their heart beat. You know, what do they really want? And in order for them to go in that direction to, like, you know, to see it, because they really, they're going through life without knowing that they have this, and this is where the struggles come in. So when we say, you know, a life coach can help you, you know, the first thing is we don't need life coaches. What is this life coach all about? And I always say, you know, we always had a coach in our life. We had a coach. Mom was our coach. Teachers were our coach, right? We get to college, the professors are our coach. And then when we need them the most, when life really is in your hands, we're like, see ya. Have a great day. And we're actually lost because we don't learn the foundation of understanding who we are at the very beginning. We discover it through other means. And so you created something that can really help people connect to what you're doing, a very simple life, you know, way of doing things. So explain that, because you know how to say it better than I do, but it's amazing. So I'm going to step back, be quiet, and let you tell us about this video game that, you know, I think we all need to play it. I used to say, don't play any video games. They're bad for you. But this one is actually very good.
Yeah, so I think the best way to describe it for people who are unaware. And like this particular video game, I mean, it literally takes place all across the world. I'm talking about Asia, Australia, Antarctica, you know, South America, North America, you know, everywhere on this planet, this game exists. There's not a place that it doesn't happen. But depending on how you were raised will determine, you know, how you look at it. And so I try to take the complex principles and make them simplified and paint a picture to help people see it for what it really is. And this is genuinely what I believe. And what I believe is that life is a video game. Like your life, my life, everybody's life is a video game. And if you don't believe me, by the end of this interview, I believe that you will see some parallels and correlations that will help you see that it really is. And
so, Jamal, before you get into it, let's take a short commercial break, and then we're going to go straight through. Okay?
Whoop, whoop. Advertisers got to pay that money.
I'm excited. So hold on. We'll be right back.
Now, the vast majority approximately 95% of the people of all countries go around and around without aim or purpose. They drift with the circumstances of life, good or bad.
A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind.
Whereas the successful individuals create their own circumstances and ride them to victory.
When you're on purpose, you're living on purpose. You will never quit if you have a real purpose.
A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. But what I have done has been recorded, it's been tested, it's being taken to a free world, and it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born.
And it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born. We're some of those people. That we're spreading this to the world. As your awareness grows, the doubt is gone, so that you can manifest whatever it is your heart desires. Isn't that beautiful?
Okay, so we're back on, and I'm sure it's going to relate to something we just saw right now. So I feel that in me. Let's go in it. So yeah, tell us about this video game.
So a video game, I should probably give you the definition of, or an explanation of what a video game does to help people see why life is a video game. So a video game electronically manipulates an image that's produced by a program to be displayed on a TV or a screen. Okay?
Okay.
And essentially your brain acts as a computer that carries out these instructions. But I'm going to go back a little bit and elaborate on it a bit more so that people fully grasp it. So a video game electronically manipulates an image produced by a program to be displayed on a screen, right? And man, that's another again. So a video game electronically manipulates your life is a, here we go. Your life is a video game. It's a video game full of infinite levels.
Okay.
Each level has a different boss. Each boss requires a different strategy.
Okay.
And at times, bosses will be very hard or impossible to defeat. But you are, man, I had a low brain fart there. I apologize, y'all.
No.
But I'm keeping it real. This is real. This is super real. So I'm going to give y'all the divine download with me. So your life is a video game. It's a video game full of infinite levels. Okay.
Got it.
Each level has a different boss. Each boss requires a different strategy.
Okay.
But you are equipped with infinite strategies. Infinite strategies, right? You see, a video game electronically manipulates an image that's produced by a program to be displayed on a screen. Your mind acts as a supercomputer that carries out the instructions of your thoughts, which create feelings. Your feelings inspire actions, and your actions produce results that are displayed in your life in real time. You see, a level is a section or a portion of a game. And most of our games are so large that they're broken up into multiple levels, right? So only one portion of the game will load at a time. And in order to complete a level, you have to perform a specific goal or task before you can advance. For example, we all start off as a seed. We're still seeds now, but we start off as a seed. That seed gets the proper nutrients, right? And over the course of time, that seed develops into a fetus. That fetus gets the proper nutrients. That fetus becomes a baby. That baby becomes a toddler. That toddler becomes a preteen. Preteen becomes a teenager. Teenager becomes an adult. Adult becomes a senior. And then you transition into another realm after you leave this body, right? But in order to advance, you have to get through the level, right? So if you want the game, this Bob Proctor who says that if you want the game to, what does he say? Bob Proctor says Change is inevitable,
Incredible.
but personal growth is a
It's a choice.
choice.
Hmm.
So if you want the game to change, then I know they tell you not supposed to point, but I did it anyways.
It's okay. It's
but,
okay.
but change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice.
Yes.
So if you want the game to change, then choose to improve because it's life starring you. You. You are the writer, the director, the producer, the actor, etc., etc. So you have to sit down and you have to look at those positions that you play and you have to ask yourself some questions. What script are you writing for your life? What
Right.
are you visualizing
Mm-hmm.
is possible for you? What inventory do you have inside of you that you can begin to produce? And what character are you playing so that you can develop the role that you want out of your life? Because at the end of each level, you will meet some powerful bosses. And when you meet them, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Winning is gonna require a greater knowledge of the game mechanics. And sometimes those bosses will be so hard and so difficult that you will need some cheat codes to help you gain access to your unused assets and functions. And that's where I come in. I'm that cheat code. When you're going up against that wall and you're playing that same level and you're dealing with that same boss, and I don't know what the boss is for you, but it could be dealing with the death of a loved one, a job loss, or a breakup. And this may be triggering, but it could be, you've been molested, raped, or physically abused. Or
Right.
maybe you're suffering from low self-esteem, weight gain or depression, and life seems impossible. And you may be ready to quit, or you're considering pulling the plug. And it's something I want you to know. I'm gonna lean in for this one. It's okay not to be okay.
Absolutely.
It's okay to seek help. And you are not alone. You are not alone. Everything that we go through in life, we're facing something that other people have already met. Now, those people may not have voiced it out there to anybody, but when you seek the help, right? When you ask for the answer to get over the problem that you're experiencing, whatever you're seeking, you will find,
Yes.
and you will knock upon that door and it will be opened unto you. So, whatever problem that you've got going on right now, it's not really a problem. You're just thinking about it in the wrong way. And you've convinced yourself that, or other people around you have convinced yourself that this is the way that it is. It can't get better, and you just need to suck it up and deal with it. But the truth is, there's so many different people. There have been so many people that have lived on this planet. There's so many books that have been written about and have all the answers to what it is that you need to do. But sometimes you need somebody to say it to you in a different way for you to be able to hear it. And so that's why life is a video game to me.
Absolutely. And you said something so important is that it's okay. It's okay to go through what you're going through because I know now through my own personal experience, I needed to be there to be here.
Mm.
I needed to be there to be here. I needed to learn something from that to be here because every experience that we do have, you must take a lesson from that. There's a lesson for us to learn from that experience. There's something we are being taught. Like there's a teacher teaching us something. And if you look at from that lens, it could be painful, but it's
Mm-hmm.
how you're going to get through it. I know now really depends on the level of faith and how much you believe in the higher power that created us. For me, it's God. For somebody else, could be the universe, infinite intelligence, whatever it is for you. There is a higher power that is guiding us, that is actually in charge of these experiences that we're having, good, bad, or otherwise, to see, to test your faith, to find these gifts that are being discovered to us. So I found my gifts when I was at the lowest point of my life, when life was almost gone and taken away from me. I lean in to the creator from the inside out.
Mm.
It's not enough to just go to church. God forgive me. He knows what I mean by that. It's knowing that he's within me to give me the strength and the power to continue to serve the way he wants me to serve here, not the way I want to be. If I go along, and this is where I had my difficulties, I was thinking I had to serve my way. And that is
Mm.
not the way we serve. We don't serve our way, we serve his way. And that was the greatest eye opener for me. And I say that my experience was like the wake up call. That was my biggest wake up call. And you know what? I'm so grateful for that wake up call. Some people might think I'm crazy, but if it wasn't for that rock bottom health issue, I would not have a wake up call. I would have kept going until, whenever. But anyway, so I really relate to what you're saying, because there's so many of us out there who feel like there is no other way out sometimes, but there is. But there is. It's connecting to that power that we have within us, right?
I 100% agree with you. And it is 100% the power that we have within us. And I am a believer in God. But I know that some people, especially a lot of evangelists, from what I found through my research and through friendship and conversations, sometimes a lot of evangelists are religious versus spiritual. And because we've gotten away from the truth of spirituality and what it means, and more people are indoctrinated with religion, I find that some people believe in the God in the sky, but not the God in them. And so they believe that everything that is happening is as a result of something that is outside of them. And I think that comes from the way that people were taught certain things,
Right.
and how they were, molded and grew up. Because believe in, I don't believe that there's something outside of me that's enabling me to do what it is that I do. I believe there's all this one God that we all serve, and I believe he's connected to all of us, and there's one level of consciousness. That's why our subconscious minds can connect with thoughts or different words that somebody was going to say. We could both be sitting in the same room, and because of the power of our creative imagination, we could be on the same wavelength or frequency and tap in at the same time. But when you believe in something that's outside of you, then oftentimes I find people are waiting on something to happen in their lives when they don't realize that you've got everything that you need
Right.
already created inside of you. You are a spiritual being in a physical body with a marvelous mind. And the moment that you can truly tap into that, you'll realize the truth in that action has no season, but the future is now. Everything that you do, every thought that you think, every word that you speak has an impact on what's happening in your life. I believe it was Rabbi who said, good thoughts. He was like, speak good thoughts because what you speak will happen. No, think good thoughts because what you think will happen in your life. Speak good words because what you say is what you get. And it's really that way. And as you continue to raise your level of consciousness, you will realize how true it is. Every single word that leaves your body carries a vibration. I might be jacking this brother's name up, but it's like Marasimoto and Hidden Messages in the Water. I might be jacking up the name of the book too. But I read that book and it talks about how, so for instance, you see this bottle of water. It's got a picture of an ice mountain on it, right? Well, the words on the water carry a frequency, and when they freeze the water, you can see how it crystallizes.
Yeah.
When they use words like hate, the water crystallizes and it has this crazy distorted vibration. When you use words like gratitude, it had the most beautiful snowflakes you've ever seen. Gratitude was the highest vibrational frequency of the most beautiful crystals that it created, even more so than love, even more so than God. And so learning that enabled me to see the true power of words. And to create an illustration, I like to say this. A lot of people have watched Harry Potter, You know, I'm a Hogwarts fan myself. Some people are like, oh my God, that's wizardry and that's witches. I believe when you watch Harry Potter, it's showing you what happens in real life in a way that people are often mistaken for. And if you read any of the good books, from the Quran to the Bible, to whatever it is that you're following, the
Yeah.
Kabbalion, Kemetic principles, there's life and death in the power of the tongue. Well, if you think about Hogwarts, they're casting spells. They have a wand. Your tongue is your wand. Your pen is your wand. Your thoughts are your wand. And when you have a dream and you write that dream down on a piece of paper, you're making it real. But it's your inner conversation that has to match your imagination. I believe that God is the imagination. He gives you a preview of any and everything you could possibly dream of. And I believe it was Steve Bowe of the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company that said a quote that resonated with me. And it's, God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever know that we can do within this lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. And once you tap into that, and once you begin believing that, once you begin affirming that, once you begin writing that, saying that, speaking that, seeing that, even when your present circumstances and conditions do not seem like that's the truth, that's when your faith has to be the strongest. Because if you've ever been through anything, like you said yourself, essentially when you were on what some would call your deathbed is when your faith was questioned the most. And Napoleon Hill says that oftentimes people's greatest achievement came one step after their greatest failure. So when everything is going crazy and nothing is making sense, and you're looking at your present circumstances and conditions, that's when you have to have the greatest faith of all.
That's right.
Because if you have the greatest faith of all in that time, you will see that Florence Scovel says, thy will be done this day. Today is a day of completion. Miracle will follow miracle, and wonders shall never cease. And you will get what it is that you're thinking about.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. You know, it's so important for people to really realize the power of what you're saying right now. Because if we're not taught this, we're literally speaking things that we don't want in our life. And then we wonder why we always get the same results. Right? Why are the results the same? I keep working hard. I do all of this. I do everything by the book. And this is what I used to say to myself, like, wait a minute. I went to school. I worked hard. I worked. You know, I did everything I could. I followed the rules. So why did things go wrong?
Well, who made your rules?
I'm sorry?
Who made your rules?
I made the rules. I thought I was in charge of my life. I thought I was in charge of my life. That's what we're taught.
I do think that you are in charge of your life, to a certain extent.
Right.
Because,
right.
you know, because we choose the thoughts and the words that we use. Nobody can make us think a thought. Nobody can make us speak a word. We have 100% control over two things in our life. That's our attitude and our effort. And our attitude is literally the synthesis of, you know, thinking something, feeling it, acting it, and having the results. That's the definition of attitude, right? So if we don't realize, or we're not taught that our mind controls our body. Here's an illustration I like to create for that. So I've got a TV behind me, right? And I want you to imagine yourself as a video game system, because this is what I believe the creator did for us. I believe in God, the universe, creator, whatever it is. This is just an illustration for anybody who wants to tap in. So your body is the video. You are the physical representation of the gaming system, right? Your goals are the video games. Whatever you choose to grab, and you, again, I said choose, whatever you decide to grab and play is exactly what's going to happen. So on this TV screen, imagine we had the stick figure. So you got a big old head, you got a little body, and you got some arms, right? Yeah, so you see this gentleman or lady that's on the screen. We are the person that's controlling the character that we see on the actual screen.
Right.
We are the person that chooses the game that we want to play. So if I say that I want to be an accountant, if I say I want to be a speaker, if I say I want to be a writer, an educator, philanthropist, whatever it is that we decide to be, you don't have to have any knowledge of whatever it is. You're just grabbing that title, you plug it in, and that's what you play. And there's a wonderful scene in The First Men in Black. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I'll tap you in. So, in The First Men in Black, there's a scene with where there's this tall, super tall alien, and there's another alien that's from another galaxy that's come to capture like this Orion's belt. That's like this galaxy. Well, when he finds this particular alien and he's in search of this galaxy, he kills the other gentleman. And when he kills him, there's his body falls down, right? His face literally pops open like a jack in the box, like almost like a door. And behind that door is this big head alien that looked like the brain from Pinky and the Brain. If you watch Animaniacs,
Yeah.
And he's controlling the individual. And I believe that's a perfect illustration of what's happening in our lives. But because we don't realize that we're in control and that our mind is in our hands and that we're holding the remote control, you can walk through life aimlessly drifting from this to that, blaming this person or this situation or these circumstances for exactly what it is that you have. But the truth is, you have the power. God gave all of us, the universe gave all of us, infinite intelligence gave all of us the inalienable right to 100% control our attitude and our effort. So if you start thinking right, you're going to feel some type of way. We all know, we've heard somebody say, oh, you made me feel like this. Nobody made you feel that way. You chose to feel that way. They're your feelings.
The choices we make, the decisions we make are the causes, and the effect is what happens, right?
The decisions, what you thought about, made you feel a particular type of way. And when you feel some type of way, you act some type of way. If it made you feel good, you acted good. If you chose to feel bad based off of the thoughts that you chose, then you probably acted bad. If you had a good attitude, you got good results. You got a great attitude, you got great results. You got a poor attitude, you got poor results. And at the end of the day, the only person that was responsible for the results was who? Yes, you. And I'm not speaking to you.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to you, the one who said who? Who, me? Yes, you. You are in control. Your mind is in your hands. You're holding the remote control.
So beautifully said. And that's kind of like the realization that begins the change process. When you realize it all comes down from you. And that's what I meant, like you're in charge of your life. You're not in charge of your life, but the decisions that you make is what you see in your reality. So when we say a reality reset, what are we saying? Start choosing different thoughts. Start feeding saying different words to yourself, because we are our worst critic.
Oh my goodness.
It's everything that's coming inside of us. And here's a test that I learned. If you're hearing someone say something to you like, I think you should really do this and do that, they're speaking from what they believe, right? And if you take what they believe and you start making it yours, well, guess what? You're not truly working from your authentic self, from your true self. You're working from someone else's self. And if you're working from someone else, for what someone else is telling you to do, or if you're looking outside of you and you say, you know what? I can't climb the mountain. Nobody ever climbed that mountain. They died of it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to die. But who's to say that you could not make it up that mountain? Somebody outside of you said that. You never gave yourself a chance to be on top of that mountain or to experience that whatever it is that you wanted to experience, because you looked at everyone that could not do it, and you
Mm,
basically said, I can't do it either, because you're looking at them. And here's what I challenge my audience to do is look at yourself
mm.
and
I
know that
love
if it,
that.
right, if you can think of it, it's yours.
Yeah, if you can imagine in your mind, you can have it in your hand. I mean, that brings me to one of the most amazing things about life is that you understand that it's 100% based off of programming, right? And so,
Mm,
no matter who a person is or where they come from, what you see is based off of the programming. And that's either the programming that they received through childhood, the program that they convinced themselves of, or the program that somebody else, put inside of them. And so, a lot of people, and I'm somebody that was a part of this as well, have had bad programming. Some
sure.
of it's self-inflicted. And we choose to focus on the things that we did not accomplish instead of looking at all of the things that we have done that are absolutely
Mhm.
amazing.
Right.
And if you put a seed in the wrong environment, it's not going to grow. A seed on the floor in the pyramids could be there for 5,000 years and never grow until a gust of wind blows underneath the door, hits it with some sunlight, some fertile soil. And then before you know it, you've got a beautiful plant. And we are the same way. I look at it like it's a video game. That's one illustration for it. But if we could see ourselves as seeds, whatever we plant ourselves is what will grow. And if you've ever grown something, it's the beautiful experience about a garden. I believe that everybody should at
Hmm.
least start a garden, grow one thing. The first thing I ever grew was black seed lettuce. And we planted it. I did it with my son. And we waited, I think it took about either 60 or 90 days for it to grow. Right? And it started off sprouted, it was small. And over the course of time, and I didn't really have to do anything to it to make it happen. We had no clue when it was going to begin to flourish, but it had the
Right.
right conditions, sunlight, the water, the right affirmation, good
Hmm.
soil, right affirmation, fertilizer soil, whatever you want to call it, right? And then it grew. And then the most beautiful thing about it is it replenished itself. So it's circulated. So we would eat the lettuce, boom, it would give us nourishment. Okay, now I don't have to go to the grocery store and pay for these things I buy all the time. So I'm saving money and I'm circulating money back into me so I can put it into different things. And I continue to eat from it, but it continues to grow back. So it's giving me more and more. And the most beautiful thing is when it transitioned, right? Because the went out of town for 2 weeks. I didn't have the bulbs in there, you know,
Hmm.
to make sure that it was properly irrigated
Yeah.
and came back and it was fried. I mean, it was like 115 degrees outside, and everything had turned like almost a grayish color, and it was like a hard stem or stick. And then that hard stick or stick over the course of time grew into some flowers on top of the hard stem or stick. And then it grew like these pods. And then I didn't do anything with it. I didn't plant anything different. Over the course of time, through the wind, the right atmospheric conditions, that same thing that looked like it died
Came back.
transformed into seeds and came back even more plentiful than it was before.
Wow. Wow.
And so that's why you just got to make sure that you plant the right seed in the right environment. And the seed that I'm speaking about is the thoughts and the words that you put into your mind. Sometimes your mama, your daddy, your brother, your sister can be your worst critic. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes you can't tell other people what it is that your dream is because a lot of people did not pursue their dream. In fact, I would be willing to bet that 98% of the people on the planet did not pursue their dream. And the reason why I say that is because I think it was Bob Proctor or Napoleon Hill that said
The graveyard.
2% of the people on the planet think,
Hmm.
3% think they think, and 95% would rather die than think.
I didn't think.
So the seed of thought is what enables you to reap the harvest of whatever reality that you want to create. And so if your seed of thought is thinking that you think but not really thinking, or rather dying than think, and allowing somebody else to tell you what it's going to be, you know, who you're going to be and how you're going to do it, then you're going to allow somebody else to program you and control you for the rest of your life. So please, whoever you are, if you're listening to this, I don't care what you're going through. I don't care how low you are or how low it feels or how bad it seems. Please don't pull the plug. You can hit the reset button as many times as you want to. But if you want the game to change, all you have to do is choose to improve, because it really is life starring you. And you can write out a new script, you can become a new character, and you can reap the harvest of whatever your heart truly desires. So do it while you can, because at some point, the time that you have in this body is going to expire. And you're going to be sitting up in heaven. And with the heaven, I believe, exists within us. The heaven and hell is based off of the thoughts and things we choose. But I want to share this with you. I was speaking to somebody the other day, and I was explaining to them, we were talking about heaven and hell. I told them I didn't believe in the concept that they believed in, but I respected what they believed in as well. But I said, what if, when you did get to heaven, God showed you two videos? One video was the life that you lived. The other video is the life that you could have lived based off of everything that he put inside of you. And when you play the other video, you know, the life that you lived is kind of whack. It was boring. You didn't do too much. You didn't pursue your dreams. You said that you couldn't do this because you had kids, and you couldn't do this because you didn't have a degree, or you couldn't do this because you didn't think you were smart. You couldn't do this because you didn't think you were capable of, or because God made you this way. You convinced yourself of all of these untrue things. And so because you convinced yourself of it, the reality you selected was that. But then he shows you another video, and woo, it's lit. I'm talking about you flying, writing, choosing, moving. You're friends with the best people, doing the best work, making the world a better place. You're hosting, modeling, coaching, cooking, living in the best homes, doing everything that you could have always imagined. And you're like, oh God, hey fam, I gotta holler at you real quick. What's up with this? What, how come I didn't get this? And he's like, because you didn't choose to. That's the life that you could have lived. But you chose to believe something that was not the truth. I told you that I created you in my image. I told you that there was life and death in the power of the tongue. It's so simple, but yet so profound, but you didn't believe it. I told you that the mind controls the body. I told you to ask and it shall be given. I told you to seek and you shall find. I told you to knock and it would be open unto you. You chose not to go deeper and do the research and ask the questions. You chose to do it your way. And I created you in a way to where you can choose whatever it is you desire. I don't change your mind. I give you control over your attitude and your effort. You had the right attitude, but you had the wrong effort. You had the wrong effort, but the right attitude. Or you were missing both. But for those of us that choose to wake up and listen to the still voice within, sit still, find ourselves, figure out what it is that we can, you know, what do we love to do? What makes us happy? What we can be paid for? And what the world needs? And we'll find the answer that we've been looking for the whole time. It's always right in front of you. Always right in front of you.
So
please
beautifully
wake up.
So beautifully said. And this is where you can really take the first step to take control of your life and create the change that you want. It all starts with us. And it all starts with looking within. There's nothing outside of us that can help us really change until we make that decision from within. You know, the great old saying, know thyself, is the greatest meaning of mankind. Because when you know who you are, just like you answer that question, you get to tap into your true power, the true change that you can make, not only for yourself, but for the world around us. Because we're here, I know now for sure, to really help each other, to really help us grow. And yourself, I mean, what we do at Napoleon Hill Institute is truly have people work and realize that it's inner work that we need to do. It's personal growth. It's not outside of us. All we need is to tap into what we already have. It's always been there. And for me, I'm so grateful to understand that now, because I still have time to change my life, not only live a legacy, but, create a legacy with everyone's life that I touched. And that is the greatest gift that we can feel fulfilled and living the life on purpose, right?
I agree with that, and I love hearing you say that. It's not too late.
Never.
Some people create a completely new life after 60. Some people are 70. Some people are 80. Some people are 90. Some people are 100, before they get it and before they can truly enjoy what's inside of them. Um, I do think that the reason why more people don't enjoy it is because they've never asked themselves those questions. They've never asked, so it was never given. If it wouldn't have been for my counselor, who was also a pastor, so it was he was a counselor, but it was also a spiritual counselor at the same time. If it wouldn't have been for him, I take that back. I almost gave him the credit. If it wouldn't have been for the God in me, looking at myself at that time, who was very angry because I had experienced some severe levels of trauma in my life, to the point where my anger grew into rage because I had no outlet for what it was that I experienced inside of me over the course of several years. If it wouldn't have been me making the decision to say, hey, I know I'm doing better, but I've got to overcome this rage thing.
Right.
And I started the journey. I asked a question. Who can I find that looks like me that can help me with this? Asked, and it was given. And I found a cognitive behavioral therapist who looked like me. I don't think it was a coincidence that he had deep-rooted knowledge and understanding of the spiritual realm. I don't think it was a coincidence that he had a powerful understanding of the power of words, and he gave me word assignments because he knew that I was a wordsmith and understand how to create and shape my reality based off of my words. I don't think it was a coincidence that because of going with him, I ended up being asked that question,
Yes.
because it all started with me asking for it.
Beautiful.
And then if you think about it, after he asked me the question, I sought it. So see, that's literally the definition of seeking you find. I had no, man, I was reading books, I was watching videos, I was doing everything outside of me. And the answer that I sought was inside of me.
Beautiful.
And then once I found the answer inside of me, I began to act on it. And the opportunities that I always dreamed of began to present themselves because the door was finally open,
Beautiful.
because I could hear the knock.
So we have to take it to a landing. Where can people contact you? JamalMitchell.com.
You can contact me at www.jamalmitchell.com. You can also reach me on all social media, The Real Jamal Mitchell, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Man,
Well,
I think
thank
that's all the
you.
places I'm at right now.
Thank you so much, Jamal, for joining me today. I know that you and I have this passion of really helping people see the best in themselves so they can really enjoy this life. And we understand it's all about the change that we need to make within us to reach our true potential. And we're here to, help people do that. So thank you for joining me today. And I love your video game. Thank you. This is the only video I ever loved. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you both so much for having me, and allowing me to share this time and space with you. And I think that, take a look at your own video game. Look at everything you've been able to accomplish.
Love it.
Accomplish. You're an educator. You didn't know anything about social media a couple of years ago. You're a TV producer. You're a director. You write the shows. You edit. You contact the people. You do everything. In addition to being a PGI consultant, in addition to being a coach, like, I got to give you your flowers for allowing me to come on here. You are the definition of writing your story. You know what I mean? Creating your player, choosing your future. You wrote the story. You visualized it happening. You felt it, you developed the character that you had to become to carry it out, and now you're living the life that you deserve. So keep on keeping on, and I can't wait to see what else you do. I love you too.
Thank
It's
you.
been good. Until next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode